We are now going to talk about shapes and text. This is a little strange. You may remember when I was going over the PowerPoint, there's basically two types of nodes. There's many nodes, but you can boil it down to two types. There are shapes and UI controls. Both of them contain text, which is a little strange. The UI control for text is a label, as we have seen in another example, but text itself is a shape. It's kind of weird, right? But here are the nodes, here are the shapes that the nodes contain. A polygon, a polyline, an arc, an ellipse, a circle, so on. Text is a shape inside of Java. Strange concept, but we can get used to that. JavaFX provides many shape classes for drawing text. You draw the text. Lines, circles, rectangles, so on and so forth. The shape class is an abstract class, which means it's a base for all shapes. Every shape you make must have a fill, so a color, a stroke, the color of the line, and a stroke width, the thickness of the line itself. So you can imagine this as a shape, this black line here. The text class defines a node that displays a string at a starting point of x and y coordinates. A text object is usually placed in a pane. Remember, a pane's upper left corner is 0, 0. So 0, 0 would place you right at the top left. \n also works when using the text object, so be wary of that. That is very useful. That will create things like displaying it on two lines. Let's take a look at this in action. We have a very generic JavaFX application, which extends the application overriding the start method. They created a generic pane here, pane equals new pane. We have some padding, and then we make a text object. Text1 equals new text. 2020 programming is fun. We then use text1, which is the text object, and we set the font to be a font color, font style of Courier. The weight is bold, the posture is italic, and the size is 15. If you're not sure what any of this stuff does, you can always press font and press period, and you will get a list of what it can do and the different types of constructors that it takes, such as a string and a double, or a string, a font weight, a font posture, like we just used there. So that will give you explanations on what things do. You are not expected to know everything about everything here. Trial and error is key, as well as looking things up and following the API. We then take the pane and we add to our pane the child of text1, which will give us this text1 right here. Programming is fun, which is what our text said. We could throw in a \n, like I was showing you in the PowerPoint, and now programming is fun is on two lines. So let me undo that. Moving on to the second text object we created it a little differently here. We said text2 equals new text, and we did throw in the \n in this case, but we didn't do any of the fancy stuff like making the sizes or the style or the bold or the italic. We didn't do any of that with text2. So when you just create a text object and the only thing you specify is where it should reside in the width and the height, as well as the text itself, you get this very generic looking text. Programming is fun. Display text. Display text appears on the second line because of that \n. Let's take a look at our third and final text example. Here we created a third text object. Programming is fun. Display text. We filled the color to be red. We put an underline to be true, a strike through to be true. And again, remember, if you're not sure about any of this, you can type in your object name, press period, and look at what the text class has to offer, as well as looking at the API or the UML diagram of the text class, font class, whatever class you are looking at. So you can do all of that. But if we run this, it's red, it's underlined, and the strike through is there. We could change the strike through to be false, and now the strike through is gone. That would just work the same as if we didn't strike through at all, right? The only reason to have it is to have true, unless you were flagging it for some type of thing. We could do the same with underline. We could change the color from red to green, as easy as that. And this is everything about the text class. And then we set the scene, as we always have done, and show it. So this is the text class, just showing you how to draw text to the screen. You can really take that and play with it, make whatever you would like.